Bodies of water make up more than two-thirds of the Earth's surface. For example, a body of water, like the Pacific Ocean, has an approximate area of about 165 million square kilometers, while the combined area of all the continents is about 148 million square kilometers. In other words, the Pacific Ocean alone could swallow all the land on the Earth's surface. That's why finding a small boat or even a large ship after they get lost in the ocean is much more difficult than finding a needle in a ditch. But if the ship or boat is the one that found you and finds someone else without any effort, then this is the mysterious event that many people attribute to ghosts. Welcome to this episode. We will talk about haunted ships that people have seen at sea until today. Before we start, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell so that you can receive our videos first. During the voyage of the SS Valencia on January 22nd, 1906, the ocean's conditions turned upside down, and the ship's crew found themselves in the city of Juan de the Fuca region, between America and Canada. Unfortunately, is known as the graveyard of the Pacific and is considered one of the most dangerous navigation areas. The problem with this region, in addition to the violent waves and unstable nature, is that it is known for its sharp coral reef, meaning that if a ship were to be hit in this area, it would be very difficult to save it. That is why, when the ship requested help, and some ships actually reached it, none of them were able to get close enough to it to be able to save those on. The only solution was for the ship's crew to wait until the storm subsided, but in their panic, they disobeyed the captain's order and tried to use small boats to reach the shore. Of course, what was expected happened, and the boats sank. Up until this point, the SS Valencia incident, despite its tragedy, was a natural event and there was nothing strange about it. However, 4 years after the incident, specifically in July 1910, the Coast Guard received a distress signal from sailors asking for help. When the rescue forces arrived, there was no sign of any problem. When the sailors were asked about the reason for asking for help, they said that they thought they were going to be captured by a pirate ship, and they said that this ship was called SS Valencia, the name of the ship that was supposed to have been wrecked and disappeared 4 years ago. The sailors said that the ship came so close to them that they thought it did not see them. Despite their attempts to communicate with the ship's crew, there was no response from the ship. But what happened after that was that the ship suddenly disappeared, just as it had appeared. Of course, at the time, no one cared about the sailors' story, and they considered that they were experiencing some hallucination. But from that day, rumors began to spread that this ship actually appeared and disappeared. The real surprise happened in 1933, when some wreckage was discovered from the ship that they thought had sunk. Parts of this wreckage are still present near the coast to this day. The parts that were recovered were displayed at the Maritime Museum in British Columbia in September 1931. While the British ship Beckmu was making a trip near the North Pole, a large ice storm suddenly hit it, freezing the water everywhere. At that time, the ship's energy was denied, forcing it to spend the entire winter. In this place, they decided to wait for her, hoping to free her with the onset of spring after the ice melted. They set up camp in a city near the ship north of Alaska. Some of the crew members were taking turns on the ship to do some work repairs, and they tried to break the ice around it from all sides in an attempt to prevent the ice from burying the ship and leaving them. But one day, the crew received news from some fishermen that they saw the ship south of the place where it was at the time. A team of the crew went to confirm the information, and indeed they found the ship in the new place. But after examination, it became clear that the ship had become unfit for navigation. At that time, the captain decided to abandon it and submit papers regarding the loss of the ship and most of the goods that were on it. However, months after this incident, specifically in March 1932, the designated authority decided to try to recover the ship, but as the captain expected, the ship sank and disappeared completely from the place where it was located. The strange thing is that after this incident, News arrived again about seeing the ship east of the place where it was last time, and this surprise activated the search teams to find it again. This story was decided twice. Each time the rescue teams were trying to recover it, but it always ended with nothing being found, and the situation remained like this until it reached 12 reports during the period between 1932 and 1969. But the ship completely eluded them, and since that day, they left this ghost ship alone. The Spanish ship Colette is considered the most important ship in the culture of the state of Chile. The reason for the importance of this ship is that it is considered an important folklore in popular culture. And the island of Chiloé, where it is believed that the ship appears and disappears, is considered one of the most important tourist attractions that the country depends on. As for the story of the ship itself, there are three different versions. The first version says that the ship was carrying a group of clerics and religious leaders, but they drowned while trying to reach Chile. This version claims that the ship always appears at night and is characterized by lights, colors, and the sounds of hymns and music. As for the second version, it says that this ship was boarded by a group of invaders, but they drowned it, and that it also appears at night like the first version, and sounds also come out of it. But what is meant are the loud sounds similar to screaming. In a third version, it is completely different, saying that this ship appears depending on the nature of the people you see. If they are good people, the ship of good people will appear to them, and if they are evil people, the ship of evil spirits will appear to them. Many adventurous tourists try to test their spirits by observing what kind of ships will appear to them, in the hope that they will actually see something. On February 13, 1748, Captain Simon Reed and his new wife sailed on a trip to enjoy their honeymoon. The trip was on a sailing ship known as the Lady Lovey Pond, but when the ship crossed the Strait of Dover in the English Channel, the ship was affected by the dense river sediments that flow into the area, and the strong tidal movement led to the ship sinking and disappearing in order to end its honeymoon with it. But in 1798, meaning 50 years after the event, the captain of the ship, Eden Brig, sent a distress message after colliding with a ship called the Lady Lovey Pond. The captain said that despite the force of the shock that sank the sailing ship, his ship did not suffer any damage, which the captain and his companion considered to be a miracle. Based on the report, the search teams started their mission, but as usual, they didn't find anything. The ship was forgotten for many years after that, and after another 50 years, reports began to arrive from sailors about seeing a ship called Lovey Pond sinking in the English Channel. Search teams went out again at that time, but they still did not find anything. This story continued to be repeated every 50 years from the date of the event. Reports spread, but the ending was always the same, which is that the search teams did not find any evidence. Many football followers, especially Dutch football fans, noticed that famous players in the Netherlands were known by the nickname the Flying Dutchman. The meaning of the Flying Dutchman in Dutch culture is something that moves constantly and is impossible to catch. The Flying Dutchman is originally the name of this ship. While it was sailing around the Cape of Good Hope, a strong storm arose at the time. The sailors asked the captain of the ship to postpone crossing the area, but the stubborn captain insisted on crossing. Unfortunately, the ship sank. Despite its sinking, the reports of its sightings did not stop. What also helped make this ship famous was that it was covered in a number of Dutch artistic works, which were usually the events tell the story of the Flying Dutchman ship, which was doomed to a zero forever in the seas and oceans, and anyone who saw it or tried to catch it was doomed to misfortune and loss. The ship Aima V. Lyubov Orlova is a huge icebreaker from the days of the Soviet Union. This ship did its job perfectly until 2010. Due to some bureaucratic problems, in addition to the ship's dilapidated condition, the ship was left until a solution was found for it in the North Atlantic Ocean near the province of Newfoundland. The ship remained quarantined in its location for 2 years, but in the end, the ship disappeared, and they thought at the time that the ship had sunk. But then sightings of the ship occurred in some places that raised suspicions again. The most important of these reports was the sighting of the ship near the coast of England, and the news was published at the time in the British newspaper, The Sun. Some reports confirmed that they had seen strange creatures on the deck of the ship, but of course there are no official documents confirming sightings of this type. Although the Mary Celeste does not appear and disappear like other ships, what happened to it is much more mysterious. The Mary Celeste ship is considered Celeste is one of the most famous mysterious ships. The summary of its story is that a British ship managed to track the Mary Celeste near the Azores Islands after it disappeared. With the help of the ship, it was found that all its passengers had disappeared. The strange thing about the subject is that the ship was in excellent condition and all the ship's possessions and cargo were as they were. It was not understood at all what would make all these people disappear so suddenly. It was definitely not attacked by pirates, otherwise everything on it would have been stolen. In addition, the captain's biography and the testimony of his colleague confirm that he never drank alcohol or even thought about committing suicide. Even the hypothesis that he committed suicide. Does this mean that everyone on the ship committed suicide with him in general? Or what is the matter? The meaning of the lack of any logical explanation for the story is that many people considered that what happened to the Mary Celeste could very well fall under the category of paranormal phenomena and ghosts. We separated everything about the ship Mary Celeste in a separate episode on the channel. So today, we will talk about haunted ships that people see at sea. Until today, what would you like us to talk about in the upcoming video? Write to us in the comments. And if you like the video, don't forget to like and share. And for those who are seeing us for the first time, subscribe and activate the bell so that you receive our videos first. Bye.